Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Councillor Mike Quigley, Chairman of the Planning and Rights of Way Committee. I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting, which is both taking place here in the Council Chamber and being broadcast live on YouTube. Agenda item 1 is the minutes of the last meeting. The draft minutes were circulated. Can I please have a show of hands to those that agree they are a true record? That's unanimous. Apologies for absence. Are there any apologies? I have on my list Councillor Purdue Horan for medical illness reasons, Councillor Rachel Madden for other reasons, and Councillor Andy Meakin for medical and illness reasons. Are there any? There are no informed substitutes as far as I'm aware. Declaration of interest by members and officers. Do any members have any declarations of interest in the agenda today? None. Officers? None. Thank you. Declarations of lobbying. I don't know of any lobbying on this matter. Anybody else has had any? And I'm sure we would have been informed if we had. So we move on then to the substantive item, which is the proposed extension eastwards of the existing Misson Grey Sand Quarry, Misson Quarry, Bawtry Road, Misson. And it's to consider the application by the Misson Sand and Gravel Company. The application seeks planning permission to extend the site eastwards as shown on the plans in the report, and the recommendations are set out in the report. Can the recommendations be seconded?
Seconded, Chair, and reserve the right to speak.
Thank you. I now invite Jonathan Smith, Team Manager, Development Management, to present the report and any further information relevant to the application.
Thank you, Chair. As you say, this application is for an eastern extension of Misson Quarry. The quarry is located in the Idle Valley, midway between the villages of Newington and Misson, to remote from residential properties, with the nearest property in Misson village being around 0.5 kilometres to the east. A group of residential properties are located approximately 600 metres west of the processing area at Norwith Hill. A bridleway runs along the northern boundary some 250 metres from the proposed extension. Access to the site is from the southwest, with HGVs restricted from travelling northeast through Misson. The proposed eastern extension incorporates 3.4 hectares of arable farmland, and the application is also seeking to continue utilising the existing processing area and access onto Bawtry Road. It is proposed to extract 400,000 tonnes of mineral over a 5-year period. The mineral will be worked dry using a range of mobile plant and then screened prior to loading onto HGVs. This is a small-scale quarry operation producing around 66 to 90,000 tonnes per annum of aggregate, including a grey-coloured mortar sand. The site has had a history of relatively small extensions as set out in the report, with some areas having been restored. A western extension is allocated in the Minerals Local Plan and was granted planning permission in 2023. Mineral extraction in the western extension, which is under the ownership of the applicant, commenced in late September 2024. The applicant has now been provided with an opportunity by the adjacent landowner to work the proposed eastern extension before the area east of the Hall Road is fully restored and unable to be utilised for access. The eastern extension is not allocated in the Minerals Local Plan, but the report at paragraphs 52 to 59 sets out why it is considered that there is a need for the mineral in order to maintain continuity of supply, including for the distinctive grey sand which the plan makes special provision for. In addition to this, allowing the extension would avoid sterilisation of this mineral, as it would prove difficult to access it at a later date. This photo shows the approximate route where the extension area would be accessed through a recently restored area. The eastern extension would be worked in 4 broad phases. The extraction of the eastern and southern boundaries would allow for the early planting of hedgerow along the eastern boundary and a woodland block along most of the southern boundary. The proposed restoration scheme will provide for a variety of habitat enhancements. The quarry floor will be predominantly restored to low-lying agricultural pasture, in keeping with the adjacent restoration scheme, but with the addition of wildlife ponds and areas of shrub planting. The banks of the eastern extension would be restored predominantly to acid grassland and heather brashing with pockets of woodland. The application was submitted prior to biodiversity net gain becoming mandatory, although the site does still provide a modest gain, and it is considered to meet the biodiversity-led restoration policy objectives in the Minerals Local Plan. Comments have been received from Misson Parish Council, which has noted the works are getting closer to the village and will require HGVs to be running for a longer period of time. However, the half-kilometre distance between the extension site and the nearest properties in Misson would continue to provide a significant buffer to residents, and the 15 HGVs entering and leaving the site will continue to do so from the southwest, thereby avoiding travelling through the village. And you can see the signage that's in place at the site there on that photo. There have been no complaints relating to HGV routing from the site, and the signage will be retained on site. Concerns initially raised by the Environment Agency have been addressed through an updated flood risk assessment, and they now raise no objection. Natural England raised no objection, subject to a condition securing a construction environment management plan to ensure no damage or destruction to the interest features for which the River Idle Washlands SSSI, located around 900 metres to the south of the site, is notified. The applicant has subsequently submitted a management plan, and Natural England confirmed following the publishing of papers that it raised no objection to this plan and considers that the proposed development would not have significant adverse impacts on the SSSI. Conditions can continue to adequately deal with matters including archaeology, noise, mud and dust control. A number of conditions have been updated to reflect the status of the permission areas, as well as incorporating a number of previously approved schemes and documents. Recommendation, therefore, is to grant planning permission for the eastern extension, subject to the imposition of the planning conditions listed in Appendix 1 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Jonathan. We do have a speaker, and now invite the agent acting on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Rhys Musson, UK Smart Design, to speak on the application. Remind you, you have 3 minutes, Mr. Musson. We will inform you when there are 30 seconds left, and when time is up, time is up.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'd like to thank everyone for coming to the committee today and the planning officers supporting the application. Misson Quarry has operated for over 20 years and is a cornerstone to the Nottinghamshire's construction industry, supplying premium grey sand, which is a niche product essential for mortar production. This material is in high demand due to its unique qualities, particularly in the Nottinghamshire and Yorkshire regions. Reserves are currently on site, will be exhausted imminently without action being taken and approval given for this application, and the mineral will be sterilised. The proposed extension will unlock an estimated 400,000 tonnes of high quality sand and gravel reserves. This will supply for approximately 5 years. The key benefits include economic stability. It will secure employment for local residents, support downstream industries like construction and logistics, contributing to the regional economy. The environmental responsibility is a key point that the client takes care of. Comprehensive mitigation measures will minimise noise, dust and the impact of traffic, with operations already adhering to the existing high standards they set, and no complaints have been received to date. A robust restoration plan will enhance biodiversity on site, creating a mix of agricultural land and conservation habitats once the extraction is complete. The proposal aligns with policy, and traffic and transport is key to be retained, so the 30 movements in and out per day will be maintained. Crucially, sand and gravel resources can only be extracted where they occur. Failure to approve this application would sterilise a valuable resource, undermining the regional supply chain and forcing reliance on less sustainable alternatives. In summary, this application strikes a careful balance between meeting economic needs and protecting the environment. It ensures continuity for a vital industry, safeguarding local jobs, and contributes to a greener future through responsible site restoration. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Musson. Do officers have any issues they wish to clarify? No, thank you very much. And I open the floor to debate. If anybody has any comments or questions, please indicate. Councillor Owen?
Chairman, it seems to me that this is a bit of a no-brainer, and I hope we're not going to make heavy weather of it. It's reading the report, which I do. It indicates that the only reason that this application is before committee is because the threshold for extraction exceeds the amount that officers are allowed to approve under delegated decision-making procedures. And so I can see no reason why we shouldn't approve it, although I'm slightly concerned to see the large turnout from the legal department this morning. I don't know whether they're here to intimidate or to persuade us, but still, they should know by now I'm not persuadable or intimidated. I shall certainly vote for approval, and I think soon we just get on with it and get it out of the way.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Anyone else wish to make comments or ask any questions? Is everybody content then? Can we move to the vote then? A show of hands, all those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? That's unanimous then. So the recommendations are approved and the extension will be granted. Right, moving on. Review of the County Council's pre-application planning advice charging schedule. Is that you, Jonathan? Can you give us a brief synopsis and we'll open it up for debate?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Fees for pre-application advice were last reviewed in 2021, and this paper sets out proposals to uplift the fees and also seeks approval to allow officers to uplift the fees on an annual basis thereafter. Colleagues in finance have confirmed that the appropriate uplift to apply is based on the Consumer Price Index, including owner-occupiers housing cost, or the CPIH for short. Applying the CPIH uplift backdated to 2021 would, for example, result in the existing highest pre-app fee level of £1,250 to £2,000 rising to £1,500 to £2,400. The 1 hour meeting with no written advice would increase from £150 to £180. The changes are set out in the table in the report, and it can be seen that the categories themselves would remain largely the same. A new fee for permitted development inquiries is proposed, although applicants could avoid the fee by undertaking some of the background work themselves. If they don't, a charge would apply to cover officer time, and this is reflective of the number of such inquiries that we receive in the team. The report also confirms how we intend to consolidate the free advice that is on the County Council's website, which applicants and others can use to help with their pre-app advice inquiries. New and revised web pages would follow to capture this free self-service category. So to confirm, in addition to seeking approval for the fee increases set out in the table of the report also recommends that members give officers delegated powers to list these fees annually in line with the CPIH, in accordance with procedures set out in the Council's constitution, which at present would require confirmation of the annual uplift to be approved by the relevant Cabinet member. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Jonathan. Can I move the recommendations as set out in the report and ask for a seconder?
Second, Chair, reserve the right to speak.
Now open the floor to debate. If anybody wishes to make comment or question the report, are we content?
Just a quick comment.
Yes. Councillor Creamer.
Just a quick comment. I think it's the right thing to do to actually review it annually. You can wind up with a massive hike if you leave it 3 or 4 years. If it's reviewed annually and goes up with inflation or thereabouts, then everybody knows where they are. Everybody can predict where they are in the future. So I think it's a sensible thing in that respect. I mean, it just shows you having to catch up to 3 years is a bigger jump than we would have liked in the first place, but it's there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Creamer. Councillor Wheeler.
Well, I entirely agree with Councillor Creamer. This has happened in other instances as well, not just on this issue, where we haven't put prices up for a number of years, and then the hike is quite substantial. So we're very careful what we're doing here, because obviously the community won't understand that, or residents don't understand why the hike is so high. And they would say what Jim has just said, well, I'm just saying why hasn't been done before. So it's not, I'm not picking the officer across it's right across the council. This has been happening, and we now need to have a big rethink on this. That's all I'd say, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wheeler. Anyone else? Any further comments, questions? Councillor Moxon?
Yeah, just a very quick one, just to back up that. So in business, I've always been told that if you're going to put prices up, do it little and often, as opposed to a big increase once in a blue moon. So I'd sort of pass on that advice as well. Little and often really is much better, and it goes more unseen than a huge hike to people that suddenly go, right, this is nearly twice as much as I paid last month. So.
Thank you, Councillor Moxon. I tend to agree. Added to the fun of annual contract negotiations, isn't it? And any further comments? No? All those in favour indicate, please. That looks like unanimous to me. Thank you very much. We move on then to the Development Management Report and ask Jonathan to present the report.
Thank you, Chair. This is the usual report we bring to committee, setting out the decisions made and applications received since last committee, and it also sets out the future programme for this committee for January and March committees. Happy to field any questions.
Thank you, Jonathan. Does anyone have any questions, observations, or issues they want to raise on the report? No? In that case, can we note the report? And there being no further business, I bring the meeting to a close. Thank you for your time and participation. And as this is the last one before Christmas, I wish you all happy Christmas and a prosperous new year. And can I confirm now that the broadcast has ended?